I love that. Yeah, I love your accent, Russ. I love that. Every
Yeah,
time I
I
go to
do too,
Boston,
man.
I'm just like, oh,
I love
I
it too,
love
man.
it. I
Well,
love
and New
it.
Yorkers, I just
And
love, you
your
know what I
little
mean?
girl, you, yeah, your little girl has an accent too, because when she did her live last night with Lisa, she has an accent as well. Snowflake, right?
Yep, that's my snowflake. She's compared to daddy, she's
Oh,
wicked smart, you know.
I love it, dude. Wicked, wicked smart. How you like them apples,
Yeah,
Russ?
she
Huh?
is.
Right? I got a number. How you like them apples? I love that movie, dude.
Oh
So
yeah.
now, guys, well, I just want to talk about a couple things. You guys know how to reach out to people, so I want to kind of give you some different ways, maybe to look at things, if you will. And so, but you got to do the do, right? So we're going to give you some seeds of thought. You can plant in your garden, but you got to take the action, right? In order to reap, you got to sow. In a big key, we can't reap and sow at the same time. So just because a lot of times we're doing something right now, and we're planting those seeds, we're doing that work, we're elevating ourselves, but we're not getting the return. That doesn't mean that return's not going to come. And so one of my favorite quotes I've learned is, "Don't judge the day by the harvest that ye reap, but the
This is yours.
seeds that you sow." Right? And you never turn when that one is going to turn into a 30, 60, 100-fold. And if you look biblically in Deuteronomy 111 is 1,000-fold increase. Okay. So just so you guys know that. Oh, all right. So guys, first off, what is your mantra? Now, what do I mean by that? We want to create cells of recognition. Have you guys ever heard of that? Monica, I did this with you, if you remember back. I don't know why I remember this, but I think, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. So this is unique, but I want to really impress this. Okay. Because we all have heard the story that if a chicken hatches, or excuse me, a duck hatches, is the first thing it sees, it imprints, is the mother, right? That's the first thing that it sees. So it's using the senses and impressing that image into the mind and the brain. Okay. So now we don't think with the brain, but it can cause us to think with the images stored. And so my mantra, everything always works out. That's what I say to myself. I'm a great finder. Now, the beauty of this is we can choose what we want to do. We can choose our own mantra. So, maybe right now the thinking is stinking, right? Like we all go through that. So maybe you're like, man, my leads aren't turning to sales. Well, flip that. The law of opposite is, hey, I'm so happy and grateful now that my leads turn into sales. Okay. So now every time you have that bad thought, that's what we call an unresourceful state. Here's what unresourceful looks like. So check this out. This hopefully will make a lot more sense. I keep looking down. I got to look and learn at the camera. I'm going to do something. I want you guys all to watch me right now. So I'm going to stand on this side right here. I'm going to come right here. What am I going to do when I come over here? How many fingers am I hold up? Okay. Am I going to be up and happy and smiling, shoulders up and back? This is the resourceful side, and this is the non-resourceful side. Now, the ability is we get to choose the side we want to go. Why is that relevant? Of those two positions of my body and my body language, what would be better to get on a call with someone to share the business or the product? Number one or number two? Isn't that a simple thing to understand? Now, remember, we don't do things from the logical aspect from here, from the conscious mind. We act from your subconscious mind. Does anybody understand this model? I know some people don't maybe know it as well. Do you guys understand? Okay. So what we want to do, we have to create the habit here. We have to put it in here. So just if we're normally going to a call like I used to do, and I would be kind of slow, like, nervous and this and that, what I've learned, they don't know what you're going to say. And you don't have to just use this in what we're doing here with Juice Plus. This can be anything in your life. Okay. If you come with confidence, they're going to automatically follow you. See, people follow confidence, not by no means do I mean, be deceitful and lie and, always be transparent, be honest. But I'm just saying, and if you ask me a question I don't know, here's what I do. I've trained myself. I don't know, but that's a freaking great question. Let me look at that and I'll get back to you. And so I don't go, I don't know. I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. Which one do you think is going to be more effective? Did you notice how I said the same thing both times? So it's not what you say. It's how you say it. It's how you do it. You hear me say that over and over and over. And I'm trying to give you so many different, avenues to look at that, right? So your mantra, I want you guys to come up with a mantra. When something goes poopy and you're really in that bad spot for a long period of time, what mantra can you put in there? I always say I've got the Midas touch. I'm a genius. I apply my wisdom now. These are things that I'm telling you, I say to myself all the freaking time. I always find a way. It always works out for me. God loves me. I love me. I kiss myself. Dead serious. I literally say things in the mirror. Put this little sticky note on your mirror. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, get into a resourceful state. Now, how can you do that? I used to wear a big fat 84 size wide rubber band. My mother knows this. It was black. Sometimes it'd be brown. And anytime I had a bad thought, which was all the time at the time, my thinking was stinking, and I would smack myself with that son of a pup. No shit. And I'm telling you, I would do that boom, boom, until I couldn't think about anything but the freaking wrist felt like it was falling off. Now, I got so good at it, I don't have to do that anymore. So I can change my physiology. This is called physiology, to where that doesn't occur. Okay. Now, if you can't use a rubber band because Russ, people are going to look at you like you're freaking crazy, I don't care because I've learned that people really don't honestly think. And what we do is we follow people, right? So what most people do is they follow the masses. So people will ask somebody that doesn't have any money what they think about money and how to save money. And why would you ask somebody that doesn't have money? Right? Why would you ask somebody you ever notice people that give you advice about health are the ones that are not healthy, that don't look healthy? Like, why would I'm by no means making fun. I know a couple things really well in my life and other things I'm totally ignorant. So I know when to lead and I know when to follow. Does that make sense? So, hey, boo, sorry. Ask your mother, honey, okay? Well, just do your best. Set it aside and I'll help you in a minute, okay? I got to focus, okay, boo? Just like you need to learn to focus too. Go do your thing. You'll figure it out. So my point is, you want to get in a resourceful spot when you go to make the call. A way you can do that, maybe it's watching Kaylee in your mind, Monica, hit that finish line. You know what I mean? And she did something she didn't think she could do, right? Mom, for you, it might be, seeing your grandkids do something that, we maybe didn't do. It doesn't matter what it is. I want you to take something that really puts you in a great spot, in a good, resourceful place where your eyes are up, your shoulders are back. That's what they call posturing up. Okay. Like if your kid, how many of you guys on here that have children, when your energy's low and you've gotten beat up all freaking day because you're not controlling the thing between your ears, your mindset, and that kid, they always ask questions. They always do something to freaking get under your skin. Like they feel when, you know what I'm saying, right? You got to, now if I'm just got my butt kicked and she comes over, okay, let's just do whatever you want. And then the next day you go, oh my God, why did I tell them that, right? But if you're up, that doesn't occur. You can adapt because you're actually causing yourself to think. You're interrupting the pattern. See, we're not conscious very often throughout the day. You're running on paradigms. And the result lets you know if you're not getting the results you want, that's okay. Just say, I don't like that result. So how do I get the flip side of that result? And these are some things that I do. Now, remember how I said I interrupt my pattern by using that little rubber band? You can even say things like cancel, cancel. You can yell it in your head. Don't yell out loud. I used to do that too. And people look like they're crazy. But if you yell this stuff over and over and over, eventually what it does, it makes you stop thinking about what you're thinking about. Another trick is to ask yourself questions, bigger questions. Okay. If someone would come into my office and they had a negative thought, which they would always come in down, usually unresourceful, until they got used to me. And then they would be around my energy all the time. They were like, oh my God, they just automatically, like they would come into my clinic. Monica, you've seen this. They don't even know why they're even coming into my clinic. They would just come in because I was uplifting or I was high energy and they just want to be around that. Okay. And that's okay. They felt it on a subconscious level, but they didn't understand it on a conscious level. What I need you guys to get is both of those. Because when you understand both of these, you can change your whole life. That's the beauty of this, because it will cause your body to take action that you normally would never take. So the mantra, again, going back there, what can be your mantra? Let's hear some. Who's got one they want to share? I'm making you guys think. They're like, God dang it, it's Saturday morning. I'm supposed to think I'm still in my pajama. How many of you guys got your pajama bottoms on other than Russ?
No.
Be
Every day in
honest.
every way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amen, baby doll. Amen. But I want you guys to come up with something, okay? And I want you to say it until you own it. And anytime something bad creeps in, that you say that over and over again until your body, and look at your body language. Practice this in the mirror so you can see what you physically look like, honestly. Because you can brainwash yourself. That's what I'm trying to teach you guys. Brainwash yourself the way you want to be brainwashed. So you say it. See, what happens, and I love Zoom calls. The reason I want you guys to have your cameras up, guys, because when I share this, I can watch your body language. I can see what you understand or don't understand. Okay, that's so important. Okay, if you can see where someone's dragging behind, then you can give them an example, a metaphor, okay, a question to pull them back. All right, it's all lack of awareness. That's all we lack is complete knowledge. And once we get a little bit more, so going back, I was looking like up at Ecclesiastes in the Bible, and it always talks about your partner, right? And they refer a lot to marriage. Okay, and a being of one cloth and things like that, and what God has brought together. Picture two little drops of water, and you pull those together with like a pin or something, a pinhead, and boom, those things become one. We talked about this a little bit last week. Well, that's what I want you to do with you guys' uplines. You need to become one with them. Their awareness level is different. No different than if you've never drove a car, right? It's not that person can't drive the car. They just don't have experience. If we've had 20 and 30 years, and by the way, you're no better at driving a car today than you were when you started. You know why I'm telling you that? Because none of you guys have practiced, nor have I, right? We read the manual. Now we're just going by rote action. It's in there. Do you remember when you first learned to drive a car? I learned how to drive on a standard. I'm gonna make fun of myself. So you remember how you had to figure out, you didn't know how to start the car. You're all fumbling around. You have to learn all this stuff consciously, like I'm teaching you right now. And you're like, okay, so I put the key in the ignition. Okay, now what do I do with the clutch and the gas? And do I put it in gear? Is it in gear? Does this look familiar? Right? The car's doing this. And then you get to a point when you've done a couple hundred times. Now it's a habit. Now it's stuck here. And once you stick it there, it can't be unstuck. I haven't drove a standard in 20 years because you don't see cars like that anymore until my buddy had a sports car and I got to drive it. And I went right back to it. Right back to the same level I was before. Why am I telling you this? When's the last time you guys picked up something and listened to something about maybe Juice Plus and the products on recordings, right? Or YouTube. See, we have to work on our craft, and we have to work on our mindset of this. It's all mindset. When you come with a different mindset to it, Laura, I've seen huge changes in you. It's obvious. I mean, you can totally see it. How many of you guys, Misty's not on here, I'm bragging on her, but how different is Misty? Right? I mean, you can totally see it. That's all it is, guys. Once we flip that script and we believe it, we'll achieve it. And the reason, do you guys know who Jim Rohn was? Phenomenal. This guy, check him out, guys. Just go back like YouTube and like look his stuff up. But I love what the guy said, because he said one of my favorite quotes of his, he said, formal education will make you a living. Now, everybody on this call gets that. Okay, most of us on here have been professionals or worked in an industry, right? Okay, you've been taught, you go to school, and here's what school teaches you right here. This is your mind again. They put the books knowledge in here, right? You take, you get the books, you take the test, you pass the course, you get your diploma. Then you graduate, your report card, your results that they teach you to look at, because if you get a good grade, you're smart. And if you get a bad grade, you're stupid, right? Does that sound familiar? right? So what happens is this report card right here puts the image right here. So the person either thinks they're smart or they're dumb. And I love what Eric Hoffer said. He said, because you need to be intelligent enough, not just if you're too intelligent, you think you don't have to study. And if you think you're stupid, you basically won't study because you don't think you can. The key is to be humble and be in between. And you're always thirsty. You're always wanting more. Now, why am I telling you this stuff? Self-education, the backside of this quote by Jim Rohn, will make you a fortune. Biblically, when they said, I don't remember exactly the quote, some of you on here will probably know better than I, when they said, only through the eye of a needle can the camel enter the kingdom, I think, of heaven or something in that regard. What that really means is very few people are willing to do the work to get to where it becomes habit. Once you put the habit in, it's like Kathy is a machine. I can tell Russ, machine. Like, and what I mean, I'm telling you, they're better at reaching out to people than I am by far. They just do it like they created that system and they just do it. And that's okay, right? So you can make up in numbers of this, but here's the key. You might not do it that way, and that's fine. You may just say, you know what? I saw so-and-so and, they had this issue, right? On Facebook, social media. So you might just say, hey, is there an audio in recordings? How many of you guys know where recordings is in Facebook, right? Then what you do is you go into recordings, there's a search engine up top, and you click that button and you type in what you want, what you're looking for. And then guess what happens? It pulls up those things. What I would recommend next is listen to that. Now, here's the beauty of this, right? You listen to it over and over and over again. And the reason you do that, it's not that audio is going to change. Guess what changes? Your awareness in your conscious mind. And then if you link feeling and emotion to it, to that audio, and you say, God, I message the person this, and I'll say, hey, Russ, man, I was listening to this. I'm not trying to pry, but I saw a post that you had, and I just thought this may be something that may change your life like it has my family and my sons. I'd love to hop on and share more if you find value in this. Say it however you want, okay? But I'm telling my backstory and why I'm reaching out to them. And fall in love with this process. Do not fall in love with the result. If you do this right, that will take care of itself. 100%. Biblically, what Jesus said when he said in Romans, be not of this world, be not of your current results is what he was saying, but by the renewal of your mind. That's what that means. And when you renew that mind, confidence, you become more resourceful. You walk differently, you talk differently, you act, you think differently. For every cause has an effect. So if I'm more confident, can we all agree that I'm going to reach out to people differently? So what would happen to the effect if my cause has been changed? Here's the problem. Everybody has been taught to work on symptoms, to work on the result, to market to that. Let me let you in on a little trick. If you don't change that, you can market all you want. And that will go up, down, up, down, up, down. Does that sound familiar to anyone on here? When you work on your mind and you change those habits, here's what happens. You blow up. You may stabilize off. It might be 3 months, 6 months, and then bam, you blow up again. This is what happens because you're following the law. Like, think of it from a seed perspective. If you plant a seed in the ground, the fertile soil, doesn't matter if it's a good or bad seed, it's going to grow. So if I plant that seed right here, and let's say that this time frame right here, guys, right, this right here, This is when the roots are growing. But we can't see any growth. It hasn't popped through the surface yet. Does that mean that that seed's not growing? Well, isn't our mental thoughts, those are seeds in the no thing. So do you see why I'm always telling you, cast the vision you want? If you want to be a national marketing director, if you build the image, they will come. The Field of Dreams, that's literally what he was teaching. Put the image that you want. See yourself on that stage. And 10, 12,000, 20,000 people just like listening to your story and just bawling and how it's making you change their lives. You add that kind of feeling to that image, it's only a matter of time before you freaking poof like that. And you start attracting other leaders that want to help you do that because you're involved in a cause that's bigger than self. It's not about you. And when we become, and I talked to Bob about this when I went to the seminar, you know, and I had to learn this early in practice. I promise you guys understand where every one of you guys are coming from. I truly do, because I had to train myself. Now you might look at me now and you might say, well, he doesn't have any problem with that at all. Because I conditioned myself not to have the problem. Okay. See, our mind works the same in every one of us. The only difference is the behaviors. And you totally, when you understand this, you understand behaviors of people, you can see it all over them. So then you know where to go forward, go backwards. And so here's a question I want to ask you guys. If you guys know these products are phenomenal, you wouldn't be on here every freaking Saturday. I mean, this is right. You're going to be working your butts off, giving me an hour of your time, right? We know this. So if those are phenomenal, right? Then I had a person ask me once, then why wouldn't you share that with other people? Because if you don't, isn't that a disservice? I was like, my God, this was when I opened my practice. You know what I mean? I remember having to ask a person for money. And I felt so weird because all the garbage, it was programmed here. And I had to get through that. You know what I mean? Like I had all this negative garbage. So I had to ask questions of myself and, well, what would God want for me? Right? Like my Heavenly Father. And so when I started asking those questions, I'm like, well, of course God wants the best for me. Now, if I'm a turd and you give me more money, guess what? It's going to come out of me. I'm going to be a bigger turd. But if I'm a really great person, money's going to accentuate that too. Right? I can give more to my church. I can give more to people. I can do more for foundations or whatever it is I choose to do. And so the thing is building, are these examples making sense, guys? It's okay. I mean, ask questions away because honestly, questions make me better. And I truly mean that. If something's not clear, you're not going to take action. You guys ever see the Kung Fu Panda? Oh, you should have the kids watch this, Kath. Freaking awesome. And the wise tortoise said, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. Today is a present. It's a gift. That's why they call it the present. And he was showing the panda, he had the water and the water was all murky and you couldn't see. That's what happens when we don't link up our conscious and our subconscious. When those aren't linked, and what we do is we hesitate. We won't take the action. We won't be confident in the action we would take. So what happens, he took this tool and he showed him, he took his staff and he poked it in the water. And guess what the ripples did immediately? They stopped and it was clear. And he could see himself for the first time in the water clearly. That's where you have to go with this. You have to be so clear that even, and I love this in Wallace Wattles' book, he said, you have to have a fixed purpose in unwavering faith. Every single time. You have to have a fixed purpose, that why. You know, like I told Russ and Lisa, some of the things that have happened already with their son. There is nothing that will move your molecule more than when you have something like that occur. Monica, same thing with you too, honey, like what you've seen with your kiddos, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you know, those are so big, you know, and, you know, I had a patient, I've said this before, she's, I don't want to share something like that because they're so private. And my old stupid days, I would have jumped all over, honest to God, you know, and not mean to, but I would have. And I just looked at her and I said, you know, as a mom, if somebody knew something that would help your kids, wouldn't you want to know? And she goes, Oh my God, I never thought about that way. Do you see how I asked a question of her? Can you guys hear me okay? Cadence here. All right, you need to go in the other room. Sorry, guys. All right, I love you and thank you. Yes. Cadence, go find your mother. Okay, I'm working. Well, I'll get it in a minute, okay? Sorry, guys. But the key is you got to flip that script in your own head. See how you get to do this from home, right? But is that, you guys tying that up? Is that making some sense? So how can you build an image? Give me some examples.
Put it in your mind
Okay, but how?
by seeing it.
Okay, but how, seeing what? So if the mind sees in pictures, right? So what do you want? What do you want?
Get better at selling.
Okay, but you have to, my point is, who's a great salesperson? So to
So
make sense,
maybe imagine a picture of yourself, like you said, on stage, right? So like another example would be, I've talked about getting my real estate license. So what I did for my vision board is I actually printed a picture that looks like a real estate license. And then I put my picture in the middle of it. So it looks like it's like my ID card. And then I put that on my vision board.
yes, let's do this too, Michelle. Once you hit that goal, what if we had a picture of you all dressed up the way you love to dress? And there's a site you can do this. I've done it, but it was about 15 years ago, where you can put yourself with a picture, like literally of your face in an outfit on Newsweek or whatever, number one real estate agent in the world, right? So you've got the headline. It's really cool. Just Google this. I'm sure you can find it. But you put yourself, that's the point, Mom. You want to put a picture of yourself. See what King Solomon said biblically, if there is no vision, the people perish. So we see in pictures and images. So image, the smaller word of imagination. And so we can use our imagination to build a puffy cloud of a picture of what we want right here. Now, nothing happens here. Awareness does. So we're more aware. Now, I want to tie in because remember how I was talking about your mantra? This is why three-way calls are so powerful, guys. Because if we're not getting the result we want, the person above you, higher up, probably is getting, would we agree, probably better results if they're higher in the business, right? Okay. So what I would recommend is get with that person and do three ways. Even when you hit the top of the, I still do three ways with Beth. Okay. And the reason I do that, she thinks differently than I. So when I'm on there, this conscious area of my mind is like, I'm just like, okay, what can I learn? I literally ask myself, this is something I should share with you guys too. When you read a book, when you do a call, if you watch a movie, give your mind set the direction you want it to go. What I mean by this is you want to say, I'm going on to this call and I'm going to learn some new tactics and strategies that I can apply and start to own. That's going to help me serve more people. When I watch a movie, same thing. I'm utilizing the greatness of this movie to build a new paradigm, taking me in life where I want to go. So that way I'm using the information. If you give your mind direction, it will always go that way. But if you don't give it direction, you know what it's going to do? It's going to support your old paradigm of beliefs, guys. That's why people will have bad things happen. It always happens to me bad. Yeah, because you've never changed your belief system, your AKA paradigm. So it's going to attract back exactly what you are. Okay. That's why God talks about in the Bible. Yeah, Kathy, one second, about the Bible and understanding the passages and reading the word, because when the word becomes imprinted in your heart of hearts right here, you always have protection. It will always be a guidance to you. It's like a roadmap. Kathy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. When you're talking about that, what I do is I listen to meditate before I get on a call to put me in a high vibration. And that makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. Guys, when I heard the word vibration, that sounds hairy-fairy, right? You know what I mean? Like I remember hearing that at first and I was like, what the, you know what I mean? Everything in this world vibrates, by the way. So I want to share some things to clean up, because if we don't put the image in there, you hear a vibration and your mind will shut down.
Who it is.
Okay.
Just type it
Yeah.
right there.
So what happens is, even the chair that I have or the table, it's alive. Why do I say that? Because it holds a form, right? And to have a form, there has to be movement in the electrons. See, when mass stops moving, it blows up. So it has to have movement, which shows intelligence. It doesn't adapt. It's not organized, AKA, you know how you hear organic? Do you know what organic really means? Organized. It can adapt. Can you and I adapt? Are we therefore God's highest creature? Then why would God want us to freaking not reach our pinnacle and our peaks? He didn't promise an easy life. And all you're gaining, he said, gain understanding. See, your journey is part of the process so that you can pull other people up when you go through these trials and tribulations. If it were easy, we wouldn't appreciate it, right? I mean, it wasn't easy, Monica, if you get on a call when your daughter's getting ready to run and, you know, rush driving down the road. I mean, that takes effort, right? Most people have excuses, and excuses are like buttholes. Everybody's got one, right? Totally true, right? I mean, we laugh, but it's true. I mean, you can eat, Jeff Roberti says it really well. He's an all-time earner in network marketing. He said, you can make excuses or you can make money. Basically what he was saying, you can make excuses or you can serve people. If you focus on serving people, the money will come, I promise you. So go into it not trying to get a sell. And if you feel bad before you get on a call, this is what Bob said to me. He said, Kenny, you're not making it about you. You got to make it about them. So if you're worried about how you look, Michelle, you're learning this by going live daily, right? It's not about you. It's about who you're serving. And when you're so focused on serving, you don't care if you look stupid or whatever. You don't even have time to think about that. So I'm saying just flip that in your head. That can be an absolute game changer, guys. I was, honest to God, in my life, I hated social media. Because all that I ever looked for and saw was negativity, right? You want the world to know, put it on, it's like a billboard, right? For everybody to know.
Well, I know a lot of people too who don't like social media because they feel like everyone is fake or they're doing better than them. And so then they start comparing themselves. And
that's a law you don't want to use against yourself, right? But see, what happened to me is I made a promise to God. You would have seen me on social media in the day, guys. Like, look back if you don't believe me. Before, you would see like a picture of my wife and my daughter, but I was never one of those guys videoing myself and photo. I made fun of those people. I'm just being dead honest. And then my wife had 2 miscarriages for prenatals that I put her on, and now I know why. And I made a promise to God when I figured out I was going to go live and I was going to serve. And so it went to Juice Plus and it went into, the company I started now. And we all have a purpose. See, what happens is, guys, this thing right here, this is like the TV of when we all grew up. Nobody reads the newspaper anymore. They look here, right? You all can become Ted Brokaw and all these, like, you can do that. And when you do that, people need that. I'm not saying you got to go live daily and things like that's not what I'm saying. I mean, if you just give people like Lisa for here and Kathy, I did a post on Juice Plus and I didn't say Juice Plus, I said Biohack or something. Kathy's like, what the heck are you doing? She's seen me do other lives. I was providing value before they knew that. And Kathy reached out to me and I told her. Well, then I talked to Lisa about this product 8 months ago. And she didn't know me. She didn't trust me. I had no value in her life yet. Okay. And then she started seeing my lives and all these things started lining up. God always lines things up when you're ready to see it. Okay. He's always lining them up. We just have to be aware. We have to be ready to see it and you got to be ready to jump. And long story short, then Lisa jumps in and she said it was all because of your attraction marketing. I don't even know what attraction marketing was. Attraction, like literally, like attraction marketing, people like Monica, when you're posting pictures of Kaylee running, right? And spending time as a family, that's what people want. But don't be afraid to show when crap goes wrong too. Because the way the human mind is designed, people love drama. People won't make the move until it gets so damn bad that they have to make the move. Until their kid's so sick. Monica, tell me if I'm wrong. How many times are your kids getting sick? before you finally said, enough's enough. I got to do something different. This isn't working. But it literally, you would have went into that same, because you were trained to go to a doctor. You were going to do that over and over, and you did it over and over. And I'm not making fun here. That's the way I was taught growing up. That's the way every one of us are taught. So what if we could reach out to another mother or father and say, look, I know where you're going. I did that. And this is what I found. Might not be for you, that's fine. But I just, as a mother, as a parent, I don't want you to go down the road I went through if I could stop and limit that. What if you just said that? Like,
Kenny.
there's nothing. Yeah, go ahead.
I just
Lisa, I'm
want
sorry.
no worries. I'm sorry I don't have my camera on yet. I actually
No.
still am in my pajamas. It's been one of those mornings. But I wanted to share that in terms of something you said a few minutes ago. Our son has the label, right, of autism. And we talked about his story before with just being on the Juice Plus a couple of weeks and not having to go on prednisone for the first time with a flare-up ever. And so when I would prospect on social media, part of my daily method of operation is to add a certain number of new connections. So I always look for mom groups that have autism moms, right? Because I just feel like I can relate with them. I would actually segregate them and put them on a different list because I felt like I didn't want to reach out to them about network marketing because I didn't want them to think that's why I was connecting with them. So my point is I would actually exclude them because I didn't feel previously like what I had to offer was something this could change your life. And now with our personal experience with our son, that's the first place I'm going back to is that list of all of those moms from all of those groups, because this is totally different. I feel they need to be aware. They at least need to know about it. And then of course the decision is theirs. But I just wanted to share that because in my mind, I excluded them right off the bat previously.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Lisa, because if we draw this again, right, where's my pen? 1 second, Cadence, okay? Thank you, beautiful. You can go play, okay? Thank you. So what happened before is, see, you're taught, think about this logically, right? I want to break it down logically so it makes sense. You're taught not to take anything from strangers, right? You're not supposed to take money from family and friends. That's all been programmed right there. But see what Lisa's done now, her molecules got moved subconsciously. Her feeling is totally different. And when the conscious, the subconscious, and the body, the physical, so we have the spirit, intellect, and physical, when those three line up, watch out. And what I'm saying is, see, you've been taught not to accept things from people. So who are you going to accept from? That's the disconnect. So what I did early on in my career is I would just say, okay, I'm just going to serve people. Okay. But until I changed what was here about money, I would help more people and make less money or the same amount of money. As weird as that sounds. Okay. So I had to work here and be okay with money and keep working on that. All right. You'll hear people in Juice Plus say, it's okay to be successful. Give yourself grace. It's 100% okay. And you guys on here are all amazing human beings. You're all heart first. Okay. But I want you to ask yourself, what more can we do when we come from the heart and bring more people like us into this thing? How many more lives can we help? How many more lives can we touch? This isn't just a product and to get somebody on a product. Is a product that freaking amazing? Yeah. And I had to ask myself that, like I know the business works. I know the product works. I was the variable. And when I changed me, everything around me started to change. The results started to change. It's equal and opposite. The universe has to give you back what you are. And so when you become okay with that, it comes so fast, guys. You don't even know where people are coming from. You just have to be open to it. But what Lisa did, it changed here for her. When it changed here, she said it. Now I'm reaching back out to what? The same people. See, your acres of diamonds are all around you. You guys know that story, Acres of Diamonds? Who's not heard that story? Everything you need is already here. God's created it all. We just need to study and become aware. And when we become aware, now you got a condition until it becomes a part of you. Over and over and over again. The process doesn't change, guys. Okay? This is how it works. And if we can give you a picture of what your mind looks like and what those other people look like. So if you can do Zoom calls for those calls with new clients, that's the best thing to do. 100%. Kathy and I talked about this the other day. Because when I look at you guys, I can see, remember, this is the mind, the rest is the body. Now that's not how it works, and I'll know that. But I need to give a picture to myself so I have organized thinking, so I have clarity. And this is the conscious and that's subconscious. So anytime I ask a question, I'm watching somebody, I'm just watching the response of their body language. They posture, when you're postured up, they posture up. They will follow people that are leaders. You don't follow someone that's indecisive. I don't care if you're wrong, make the freaking decision and go. The best lesson I ever learned in reading the Think and Grow Rich book was that ultimate achievers make a decision and they don't look back. That doesn't mean that they don't alter plans. Their goal is always the same. So like, what does that mean? Well, some of you guys want to be an MD, right? Well, you're not comfortable maybe with reaching out to people in a certain way. Totally fine. The goal doesn't change. You just reach out to people differently. That's all you do. Love you, baby doll. Give me a kiss. Come here. You still want a kiss? I love you. Be careful, okay? I love you. If they're not there, you come straight back, okay? Does that make sense though, guys? So mantra, how can you reach out to your upline, right? I always heard this, complain upline, not downline. Why would that make sense? Do you know where the morale changes? It changes from the top and filters down. So you want to talk to people that are above. Why? Only, but not that they're better, they just seem more. That's all. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. And get the age crap out of your head. That's the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard in my life. Doesn't matter how freaking old you are. Literally. Like, you know who Satchel Paige is? You guys ever hear the name Satchel Paige? I was sharing a story with my patient one day. Never forget, her name's Dee Dee. Dee Dee comes in the office and she had these really cool pants. She's about 62 years old. And they had like the prints and crap all over them. And I mean, I was thinking, yeah, she's rocking this. Like, what 62-year-old lady would wear something like that? You know what I mean? Like, you just more conservative, this and that. But she loved it. And I said, hey, have you ever heard of Satchel Paige? And she goes, no. I said, Satchel Paige was the oldest Black or African-American baseball player in the big leagues. They brought him up with Josh Gibson and another guy. And the reason they did this is because, honestly, he was Black and they hoped he filled. And he didn't tell them how old he was. And I'm going to get to that. And the reason he didn't tell them, because he didn't want them to know. Because he knew they were doing everything that they could to keep him from succeeding. Okay? So he didn't want to tell them that. He didn't want to put in their consciousness what they wanted to know. And he was an all-star of one, I think he even won like a Cy Young. He was like in his 60s almost playing baseball. And just killing it. He didn't let what society, the environmental stimulus had been put here, affect him. He didn't look at the results of everybody else. He put the result he wanted. He created his result here and didn't look there. He started with the end in mind right here. And when he did that, it was so funny. The young man, as he's getting ready to die, he was being interviewed, said, Satchel, how old are you really? And do you know what Satchel asked him? He said, young man, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? I've had 5-year-olds act like they're 105. I've had 105-year-old patients act like they're 5. How do you want to choose? It's never too late to start. God put you here for a purpose, not to dwindle around, not to tiptoe through life, making it safely. If you're failure, I wrote this quote down. Every failure is a lesson. If you are not willing to fail, you're not ready to succeed. So what they a lot of times say, they'll say, get out of your head and get into your heart. You ever hear that? When you come from your heart, people feel that. That's like what Lisa was saying. She was coming from her heart. So even if Lisa goes and screws all the words up and she calls these moms, you can never say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can never say the wrong thing to the right person, right? It's not a play on words. When you come from the heart, people feel that. I just told my staff that my new staff that the other day, I'm like, dude, look, I come from the heart and everything I do, just always know that. Like, so if I see something, you guys will learn that. I go warp speed, that's my mom. It's freaking boof, and just, I'll figure it out. You don't have to know how. That's up to God. God asks you to plant the seed, do the work, till the soil, do your part. And then all of a sudden, when it comes so fast, you won't even know where it's going to hide all the years. You have to have that fixed purpose and unwavering faith. But it all starts what you plant in your mind. What's your mantra? When you're not getting the result, you're telling yourself the wrong stuff. If you don't like the result and you're not aware of what you're thinking, become aware of what you're feeling. And if you're obviously in a low vibration, you can only attract back what you are. So if you're getting a bunch of calls that aren't going well, that's because your freaking vibration and your thinking is sinking. There's nothing wrong with that. Just become aware, change your vibration. Like Kathy said, put in some kind of meditation. I don't care. Monica, you might go run. I mean, you know what I mean? Like coffee. Maybe coffee is your stimulus, guys, or whatever. I don't care. Just know what kind of gets you going in the right place. Where do you feel joy? Whatever feels joy, that's how you can change this. And when you change how you feel, that's when you link the picture that you want. You want the outcome. You want to put the outcome you want tied in with the feeling you want. That's how you do this. So I don't go on to a call until I change my vibration. Why do you think I always listen to that one song? You guys came on early and noticed that? Because it puts me in a good feeling place. And I just trust God that whatever comes out of my mouth is going to be the right thing. I literally ask God. Anytime you see me, I might have a couple bullet points. I don't know what I'm going to say. It's all from God. And when I come from there, when I'm coming from here, from God, I always hear people go, God, you made me think that. That's how I know I'm doing my thing.
Hey, Kim, that's a great point that you just said about that, in previous, if you're not doing something right, you keep getting no's and stuff. I've been in previous companies before I went through TIR.
Okay.
And I didn't succeed in that company because I didn't understand my mind. And I didn't understand. And I focused so much on the process, on the results. When I would get a no, I took it personally. And I thought it was all me. And then once I went through TIR, I came out in a flash once I started understanding. And it's so true, you have to disconnect from the results and focus on the process and have fun and laugh about it. Because if you get a no, I tell my team, if you get a no, that means that you're doing something. You're working it. If you don't get nothing, that means you're not working it. So you celebrate your no's just as much as you celebrate your yeses. And it makes, if you look at it that way, it makes a big, big difference.
Get the book, Go for No. If you have it, pull it back out. Listen to it again and again. I'll leave you with this. We're going to use the mind model again, right? Okay, so anytime you see this is the mind. You guys remember, you guys are all roughly my age. You guys remember the Karate Kid? And you've probably heard this before. What I love is don't accept or reject anything and don't neglect it. If you want to grow in life, you have to be open. If you're not open, God can't flow through you. Okay? So in the original Karate Kid, we're going to use this. DK equals don't know, and K equals know. Like you know something, right? Or don't know. Does that make sense so far? Can I get a yes? Okay, so watch it. The original Karate Kid, Daniel-san moves from New Jersey all the way to California. And those kids pick on him, right? And they're beating the holy crap out of him. So he doesn't even know what's occurring yet. Okay, he doesn't know it's karate, and he doesn't know how to defend himself. So remember, this is where we act from. This is what we know consciously, right? You guys follow me so far, all right? So then Mr. Miyagi jumps out, and he defends Danielson. And Danielson's like, what the heck was that? And he goes, it's karate. Now the K doesn't stand for karate, it stands for knowing. He knows. So now he's aware, like Kathy said, I'm aware I'm not getting the result over. But they don't have to change it. So the reason I asked you, does the business work? Does the product work? Yeah. So guess what the variable is? The mindset. So now Mr. Miyagi, he begs him, oh God, I shouldn't have to do this. So Mr. Miyagi goes through and he's having him, remember, sign the law, right? You know, wax on, wax off, you know, all these things, right? And he does it all day long for weeks and weeks and weeks. What does the Bible say? 40 days and 40 nights, 40 years? Well, that's how long it takes to make a habit. And yet we wonder why, after 5 minutes of doing something, it didn't work. Well, why doesn't it keep working? I have no idea why. Anyway, so now all of a sudden, he's going and doing this. And he goes one day, Mr. Miyagi goes fishing all day long, and Danielson's left there to do all the exact work the way he's supposed to. It's pitch black outside. Mr. Miyagi comes back all happy and excited. And Danielson goes, you left me here. And he's all mad and he's yelling at him this and that. And Mr. Miyagi said, it not as it appear. And Danielson, and as you're taking advantage of me, I'm a young kid. And he said, here, it's not as it appeared. Show me sign the floor. And like any novice, well, I did the call. I did this. I did that. Right? It's not what you do. It's how you do it. This was me. I'm not making fun of anybody. This was me all the time. I'm mentors. Here's what he did. Show me properly physiology, sign the floor. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Miyagi starts to throw punches at Danielson. And he's telling him, sand the floor, do this, do that. And remember what's going on? Do you remember how Danielson keeps blocking everything? And then Mr. Miyagi quits telling him what to do. And he's just throwing the punches and the kicks. And what does Danielson do, guys? He blocks every one of them. Now watch this. Why is this important? Well, because Danielson does not know, he wasn't aware that he was being taught karate. But he was doing karate. Here's the key. If you don't know how a true master knows how it works and does it, because until you understand this, you will repeat this same process over and over and over again, and you'll get stuck. How many people are stuck? This is it. One of the simplest examples I can give you. Until you understand that, until you are aware to then change the habit, you'll keep getting the same habit. The habit, what's placed here, gives you your results. And what we do in America, and what we've been conditioned to do, is we look at the result on a physical plane, and what we do is we try to change that result. So you can, reach out to more and more people. And you'll get, if you focus, if you take notes, if you work on your physiology, if you work on the tools I'm telling you, you will, by nature, you're designed, the mind's designed to figure this out. I promise you. But you have to take different approaches. You have to gain clarity to your mind. And until you gain clarity to your mind, you're going to do it the same way you've always done it. Don't believe me? How many of you think about this? We all put our shirt on over our head, right? But if you gave that same t-shirt to a baby, a child learning to do this, they don't have the pattern. See, we just do it. We don't think about it. You guys think about putting your shirt on or brushing your teeth? Yeah, I'm giving you these examples because those are all paradigms that we just do, right? So I used to just get mad about stuff. I used to react to stuff. It was totally stupid and trivial. Like, then my energy would come down. Then I would attract more crap back to me. Well, now I understand why the hell bad crap kept coming back to me, right? So I had to start becoming aware and change that stuff. But my point is, if you saw a 1-year-old child and they were trying to put their pants on top of their head, they don't have the habit yet to know that you don't do that. They're actually using their thought and they're doing it different. If you took a chair, we look at a chair that's set in the daggone thing. What does a freaking 4- and 5-year-old kid do? What's Harper doing, Monica? She's stacking crap on it. She's, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing all kinds. We're like, no, you just sit in the thing. See, we're limiting the freaking kid because we're unaware. Well, it tastes like this. Quit telling them what the hell it tastes like. Let them figure out what it tastes like. Right? You get what I'm saying? We're telling people and then they get programmed. And they're getting programmed by our lack of awareness. You see how important this stuff is? Like, this is not just your life. This is your family's, guys. This is more than just, I hope you guys are getting where I'm coming from, because this stuff, you can change the world with this stuff. But this is how you grow. You understand this stuff, and I promise you, it will change everything about how you do everything.
Hey, Kenny, something that I use as a tool to help me.
Hey, Kathy, we're not hearing you.
I'll change something up.
I didn't hear you, honey. It cut out all the time. What you're saying. You're good now.
Okay. I track, I track it. So like for all my businesses now, when I reach out to people, I track it. And so I write it down, if I spoke to them or not. And then when my follow up with them. And then if I feel like if I reached out to like 10 and I'm not getting what I want to get out of it, then I feel like I need to change something up. Maybe I was not in the high vibration when I was talking to them. Maybe it was something wrong with my script and I needed to recraft it. Maybe, so I just, that really helps me.
We should have you teach that maybe next weekend or something too, Kat. Would you guys like that? Because that is, I did that when I started on, I haven't, but you're 100%. I mean, if you do that, because it will show you what you think you're doing versus what you're actually doing. Because numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm. And it'll help you stay.
To share that.
Yeah, it just helps you stay organized. And I just do, it's just on a regular, nothing fancy Excel sheet. You can have a notebook. You don't have to have anything fancy. And you can write it in a notebook.
Every time you say notebook, I think of that movie, The Notebook.
Oh, yeah. But yes, it's easy, cheap, free tool to keep you organized.
And then you get to see where you are, where you're not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? My God, it's already 10 o'clock, guys.
I know. This was amazing, Kenny. This was phenomenal.
That's fantastic.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh my! You could keep talking.
On and on and on. Oh, but
Really
remember?
amazing.
Thank you. Remember how I said, I thought of a notebook. So that was anchored here. What you said triggered that picture to pop up on mine. Something I learned I would do in practice. I don't know if I ever did this to you, Monica. I always talk about Monica because Monica would come see me. I was such a damn goofball. Remember how Kathy said have fun? People would come to watch me practice. And I swear to you, my mom's seen this. I would say, Monica's got a healthy spine, healthy spine, healthy spine. Can you keep her lying down, body spine? And I would just sing this over and over and over. And like people were like, now here's the funny thing. See, I create anchor and trigger. So then anytime you hear little lamb, you would think, what's that goofy curly hair? I need to go see him. You see what I'm doing? See, Winston tastes good like a cigarette.
Should.
How do you spell relief? It's in the subconscious.
Yeah, they need a host to talk their golfers.
Okay, it's on the back porch. That's a little gap. Guys, I'm going to roll. God bless them. Did I tell you guys what the heck happened? Oh man, our neighbor, they wrecked the freaking golf cart. And her husband to be is out of town and she doesn't want to tell him. Oh yeah, dude, so it's funny. I said, look, nobody's hurt. Freaking golf cart's working. Got out of the house, they took it off a ravine. I'm like, so now you guys are like, you're inaugurated in my family. We're the Griswolds. So anytime we go on vacation or do something, I had to change that, but that's like literally growing up. My mom's got a funny story. She can tell you guys about that. But so my point is to link fun and anchor fun to things and stuff. Because in my old day, I'd have been PO. So, but yeah, does that all make sense? How am I helping these guys? Thank you guys so much, man. Have a blessed week. Get with your uplines. Remember what? Create a mantra. Okay, right? See yourself, picture yourself the way you want. and get that feeling and link those two together. Okay.
Sounds great. Y'all have a great weekend.
Yes,
Thank you,
guys too.
everyone. Have a great weekend.